to the Johnny Random Show in partnership today with Biz Coach Tennessee. It is the training, consulting, and coaching company that my dad and I run. And so today we're going to be doing a piece that comes from the blog that is up on our website, bizcoachtennessee.com. If you go there, you can see all the blogs. It's going to be a weekly thing that we do. So Dad, go ahead and take away. Why don't you introduce the topic today and bring it in the discussion?
Yeah, we might want to clarify that it's actually bizcoachtn.com.
PN.
I was thinking about something I used to do at one point in a leadership program that I was doing for a company. At the end of it, I took the sentence, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you always got. And I cut it up into sometimes single words, sometimes two, sometimes three words, just sort of scrambled it up. I gave it to two different teams. And then they had to try to, quickly put it together to see what the message was. They didn't know, what it said. They didn't know the outcome that and then they would put it together. But the purpose of it is at the end of the training to reinforce the fact that sometimes we need to do things differently. Our routines are great. Our habits are good. They are, who we become. You are your habits, and we need to have good habits and routines and do things. But they can get in the way. And the reason is they become comfortable. It's the way we do it. We don't think outside the box. We don't think anything, differently. And a lot of times we just work hard at, keeping the way that we've always done and keeping on that track and staying in that comfortableness and, those results. The problem is when those results aren't what we want any longer. And yet we continue to use the same routines, the same tools, the same way of doing things, and end up, just being stuck and not seeing, the things that we should see. And there's a number of things that I thought of as I was writing the article that kind of fit in there a little bit. One of those was, of course, Kodak. When digital came out, they had access to digital the technology, and yet they didn't change what they were doing. And of course, digital changed, and Kodak,
them.
wow, changed them. I think of the same thing even longer ago than that with digital watches. The actual first digital watch was created by a watchmaker, and he didn't patent it. Everybody looked at it and said, "Oh, yeah, it's interesting, but it's not a watch." He went to a trade show and showed it in Japan. It wasn't patented. Someone in Japan took it and said, "Wow, what a cheap watch! This is great." And pretty soon, all the watchmakers, within just a short period of time, were out of work because they didn't recognize, the difference. And so our paradigms also come into play too. And so there are things that we need to do to stretch ourselves, to look at things differently, to question our assumption, question our goals, to do those types of things because we want to get different results. We want to grow. We want to be on the cutting edge. We want to, have these things, but we tend to approach them with the same skill set that we had before. And, I have to admit, keeping up with the latest and greatest is difficult. It takes time to do that, but all of us need to take some part of each week and block off, an hour or so where we're at least looking at what's out there. And then we need to try things and do the repetitions and things that we need to learn those skills and figure out whether this is something that we can incorporate with what we're doing, and thus stay um, on the cutting edge of things.
And while you were talking, and when we were talking before, I kind of had a thought, that's related to this, in that I think it's similar also for relationships. Sometimes we were talking about how you and mom went to a waterfall today. It's kind of a
Mhm.
date. You
Yeah.
have the opportunity to sit and talk to each other, but inside the house, inside that same context, you don't always have those conversations. And I have that similarly with my wife. Now we go to the kids are in ninja and tumbling, and so we have opportunities to sit there for an hour, watch them, do their thing. And it allows us opportunity outside of our normal routine, and it sparks different conversations. That's
Mhm.
the benefit of a date. And I think that same concept in business that you're talking about here is we sometimes we get into that same routine, and sometimes you have to, or we are encouraging you to step into a different mindset, a different mode, go do some research on something so you get different thoughts going, so that you can be innovative, so that you can do what you actually want to do in your
Mhm.
business, and
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
stagnate, with your employees and everything. And I think it's helpful. Like you were saying.
Yeah, I was in a seminar not too long ago with a company, and they had breakout groups. And the interesting thing is when they had breakouts within a classroom, they got different results than sending people like out into sort of a open corridor kind of thing where they're working together and talking, but there's people walking around them. There's some amount of traffic and things. And you would
Right.
think that that would make it harder for people to focus, and the outcomes that they had would be worse, but actually they were better. So
Right.
go figure. You know,
Uh,
who would have thought? That type of thing. So changing the environment is certainly, one of those things. I think that's one of the good things of a retreat environment as well. Not that you always have to do that, but it is at least something that does break our system of, we do things this way, blah, 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 blah. And sometimes, even efficiency can work against us. We're used to having these meetings. They're 10-minute stand-up meetings, and we say what's going on with us and all. And that sometimes hinders, real communication, deep communication. Sometimes it needs to happen between people as well. So sometimes if the very fact of having efficiency, which we certainly want to have, most of the time, sometimes that can even become a routine that becomes where we're really not talking about the issues that we should. So we give, different suggestions and all in the article. You can see it in the blog. It's the one with the hamster
Mr. Will.
wheel. So if you see a hamster on a wheel as the picture, that's the one we're talking about, and get some ideas. And we certainly would like feedback on the blog. We don't exactly have um, a place to comment, but you can send comments through the contact page, and we'll post some of those things as they
Yeah,
come.
send us emails. And the other thing too is, in our coaching, that we do is we go into businesses and we do a customized analysis, discovery phase, where we go in and we look at your business, and we will go through, with you, what your goals are and what you want to accomplish, and interview the employees as well, separate, so that we can kind of get a lot of information. And then we come back and we do training seminars, and we do things like that. We do coaching, ongoing coaching as well. So definitely check us out online, and we would be appreciative of, just following the blog and all your comments and everything as well.
Yeah, I want to just close this with one thought that I used to tell when I came into a business and to talk with the managers and supervisors, that they always need to be attentive to the new person who comes in, not because they're going to screw up, which we we know that they will do, but a lot of times they see things that we no longer see. We
Right.
look at things, and eventually they just aren't there. Their problems or issues, we intended at one point maybe to do something about them, or we might have saw them, or we may not have seen them at all. But a new person comes in and says, well, why do we do it this way? And sometimes, they're totally off base, and we have to teach them what good is, what quality is, what the measures and metrics are for our business. But there's a lot of times they're looking at things completely different, and they're saying like, that's pretty dumb. Or things that we started off in this certain pattern, this certain way, but over time, certain other elements have come in. We've speeded something up, we've taken something out, we've done something different. And now it's something very different than what we were familiar with when we first started up and geared up and put this thing together. New person comes in and says, like, why are we doing it in this order? Well, because we started off doing it in that order, but now there's a bottleneck because we've added this other element or something and all. So again, listening to someone who's new, and the same way with our organization coming in and being another set of eyes and looking at things and saying like, why is that?